I have to keep highlighting these stories because they're not just because they're important, but they point to a larger issue. If you wonder why so many people want to kick the COVID can down the road, it's because so many people in so many different ways, politicians on there, just regular individuals, have a lot to gain with the COVID can being consistently kicked down the road. There's no end game in sight. And it is because of what they have latched on to. It's a lot they have to gain, a lot they have to lose as well in the event that, well, this is over with. Here's yet another example of this. Typical welfare statism. Ex-president of a Florida Democratic Black Caucus admits to a $300,000 COVID relief fraud. And this is a 28-year-old from Fort Lauderdale, pled guilty to one count information charging her with lying on a Modelo virus relief loan application and fraudulently obtaining hundreds of thousands of dollars intended to help small business financially survive the COVID-19 pandemic. As part of the guilty plea, Holness admitted that in June of 2020, she applied for a $300,000 forgivable federal guaranteed paycheck protection, the PPP loan, on behalf of Holness Consulting, a Florida company that she owned, to justify the requested loan amount Holmes claimed, and on the line loan application and through supporting fraudulent payroll tax forms that her company employed 18 people and spent an average of $120,000 each month on payroll. In fact, Holness Consulting had 0 employees. And no payroll expenses. That's pretty tough. It's pretty tough. A bank endorsed by the Small Business Administration to fund PPP loans approved Holness Consulting PPP loan application based on lies and wired $300,000 to the company's bank account in Florida. Once the money hit the bank account, July 2020, Holness spent the next few months creating a paper trail to make it appear as if Holness Consulting had employees. And it says, at Holness' direction, the people receiving the checks would endorse and return them to Holness. Then Holness would cash the checks at the company's bank, give a few $100s to the check endorsers, and keep the rest of the cash for herself, about $1,000. So she tried to be slick with it. And again, she served as the president of Broward County Democratic Black Caucus. Look, I've covered many stories on my show that talks about instances of exactly this. You had a homie spent fucking like 55 grand or some crazy number on a Pokemon card that he used his same thing, used the government money regarding the COVID relief funds to pay for that. There are, many stories that have happened that are out there like that. And they scale from just, again, regular individuals to bigger businesses as far as basically you are guaranteeing them free money. You wonder why, like a lot of airlines companies like Southwest listens to these companies, because Southwest or listens to these mandates. It's because they got money. They got skin in the game. They signed a deal with the fucking devil. And the government comes to collect, and they are required to do their bidding, because when it came to the COVIDs last year, Southwest Airlines was not profitable, but was one of the, actually, I think it was the first airlines company to become profitable because of, he getting help from the taxpayers, people that get their money stolen from, and it was rerouted to them to keep them afloat. And this is how they justified themselves in their existence. See, this is welfare statism in action, right? This is why it's so fucking rotten that there exist these sort of bloated plans in which they basically say if you qualify for this, this, and that, or you meet this certain standard, then we're going to give you a boatload of money that ain't fucking yours. And in a lot of cases, you ain't even going to pay it back. So they steal from you. They steal from future generations because a lot of the money ain't even there. And then they reroute it to these guys. And you wonder why. Folks that have been eating on this welfare state, if you see it, even with what we're dealing with right now, which some people don't want to concede, that part of the labor shortage has been because of those unemployment benefits being associated with these $1 trillion stimulus packages. If you pay people to sit on their ass, it's almost like they don't get to work. You get more of that shit. See, it's not a rocket. You don't need to be an economist to understand this. But this is how it works. And this is why it's so evil. See, I've been an advocate, obviously, of voluntarism. That is the core of really the philosophy of that, which I uphold, because you do not have a right to other people's fucking money. You don't have a right to other people. Folks max these sorts of policies because they say, okay, we're trying to help people, right? And in this case, it was a government-induced problem, right? Like with COVID. The government shut people down, right? That they did that. So then they say, okay, hey, it's a classic abuser behavior, right? You made me do this, and therefore I'm going to give you a little money on the side, which I don't have, which isn't theirs. They still give you the money. But it's always in the name of helping your fellow man, helping individuals and whatnot. I was one of the guys over at Blaze TV, Blaze Network, when even you had conservatives trying to concede these $1 trillion plans that we need to pass them. Orange fucking knothead president of y'all that y'all loved so much was a big proponent of the passing all of this stuff. Signed off on that last one, talking all that shit. Everybody, he's just cited it because they're going to get rid of the port. Didn't get rid of a goddamn thing. Anyway, I know that was a kind of aside from the point, but it was actually perfectly on point, because the point is, if you give them, like, everybody masked this and everybody got behind this welfare statist effort, even people that claim to believe so much in liberty. And what has it gotten you? You see the spending efforts in combination with the money that's been printed. You see what your dollar is doing with all of this, right? You paying attention now because you go to the gas station and shit costs so much? It has a lot to do with your government's involvement in its economy. It shouldn't be there. But when you look at every aspect and every angle, so many people have a lot to gain. And it ain't just pharmaceutical companies, though they are certainly at the top. From this, continuing on, the fear mongering, right? Continuing on just so they can have an excuse to stay and not move, and then say the government has to now give me money because, reasons. This ends when you demand that it does. I've said this before, but if it is up to your average individual, big business, small business included, because your average individual is fucking stupid, and that may sound, you sound like an asshole. That's fine. I'll be an asshole, but I'm right. This is why democracy is one of the most dumbest fucking forms of governance that you can have, because you accept that your neighbors were probably a fucking retard in regards to what they're paying attention to in the politics, and that they don't really know. Have you ever talked to your average voter about certain policies? They have no fucking idea because they're stupid. Okay? But they get to vote and it counts just as much as yours. That's why it's fucking dumb. So I'm not saying this to be an asshole, but if I have to be that for you to get it through your thick skull, that just because a bunch of people or even the majority of people want something does not make it righteous, and it certainly doesn't make it just. But if so many folks have a lot to gain with COVID, so why on earth would they want it to end? You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake. catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.